Going live in 3, 2, 1. You're on. Dr. Smith.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to the show. Tomorrow it's marathon kickoff.
Woo.
Yes, sir, Bob. We're going to start the LA Marathon training season tomorrow morning. So you can start it after midnight anytime. As we said, you go do your own run at your own time, at your own place. But after midnight tomorrow, we're on. It's on like Donkey Kong. And so there's a bunch of people that are starting their programs tomorrow. You know, the Whittier Pacers is starting up. We got Pasadena Pacers. Yes, sir, Bob. And we also have the MidnightRunners downtown LA. Love those guys. Shout out to you guys and good going on you. Get out there and just run, fellas. And you know, I guess you guys are training for a half marathon. Speaking of half marathon, I have probably the most amazing coach in the history of all running coaches, the most inspiring guy, one of my favorite people on earth, our very own Ezra Weisz, the Pasadena Pacers half marathon coach, warm-up guy, audience warm-up guy.
Woo!
So our show today is all about inspiration because you're going to have to get your head screwed on right and get that attitude. Just get your head straight, push everything aside. Get your calendar out and mark out all the days you're going to run. Every weekend you got those long runs coming up, so pencil it out. Pave the way for the future by penciling it into your calendar first. Marathon training first, then food, clothing, and shelter after that, and then maybe some family, okay? All right, you can put some things first, but get it on your calendar, paint the future, and move into it, and get yourself ready to roll because it's going to be a fantastic year. You know, you guys have an opportunity like never before. Train virtual, run live. That's the way I'm calling it, and you know it's going to happen.
Okay.
If I say it's true, then it is true.
It's true.
Now, this is the best part. We want to hear from Ezra because he's going to give us some words of inspiration and how to keep yourself inspired, how to inspire others for the LA Marathon training this year. So what do you think, Ez?
That was an excellent introduction. Wonderful words of inspiration. Thank you, Dr. Smith. Hi, everybody. It is me, Coach Ezra, half marathon coach at the Pasadena Pacers, and your Los Angeles Marathon ambassador for 2021. And I was surprised and I was excited when Dr. Smith called me up and said, hey, Ez, we're doing these office hours and we would like for you to come in and speak. I'm like, well, that's great, but what would you like me to talk about? He was like, inspiration. I'm like, well, that's a giant topic, right? I mean, that theme is huge, inspiration. And you're calling upon me now at a time when inspiration for a lot of folks are kind of at a low. So I said, that's the perfect topic for me. That's the perfect topic for me to relay to you because inspiration is all around us and it's time for us to reap and harvest it all. Now we have the Los Angeles Marathon training program starting tomorrow for, like you heard, the Pasadena Pacers and the Whittier Pacers. If you need something in your life that you can ground yourself in, rely upon, and make your own personal project, this is the moment. This is for Pasadena Pacers, for Whittier Pacers, for Pacer Nation, in fact. It is free. You do not have to invest any money, and let's face it, times are tough for so many people. And if it isn't tough for you right now, you're thinking about how it may be financially tough in the future because everything is completely uncertain. So save your money and run with these virtual programs in these amazing run clubs for free. We don't ask for any money. So that should inspire you right there. The other thing is, things are just absolutely uncertain in every possible way. Every day feels like it is a weird vacation weekend day. The work schedule is not the same. The work environment's not the same. The kids aren't schooling in the way. You don't have the personal space that you used to have. You need to find a sense of normalcy and routine for you because we've been living in this pandemic lifestyle for so long that it's starting to make us feel anxious, insecure, sad, heavy, overweight, lazy. You know the words. That list goes on. And we know we need to rise up from all of those feelings. And the best way that I know how to do that is to get your body moving. Now let's not get your body moving right now. If you're watching live, we're in the middle of some crazy wildfires here in Southern California. The weather conditions are awful. The air quality is terrible. It's like walking outside and actually being inside someone's ashtray. So if you're watching live, don't go outside right now. But if you're watching this over the weekend, if you're watching this early next week, that's the time I want you to go outside of your house, find a route for yourself where it's safe, where where you are safe, where it's not crowded, and I want you to start this training program. Here's what's going to happen. The first day of training, it's just 3 miles. You can go out and you can walk 3 miles. You can also jog and you can also run 3 miles. But if I'm talking to you and you are sitting there and you're watching this and you're thinking, there's no way I could run a marathon, you're right, there is no way you can run a marathon if you think like that and if you stay seated on your butt. You need to get up and tell yourself that you can do it, and you need to do it. So get your butt up and go outside and go for 3 miles. And then you're going to come back, and you know what you're going to feel? You're going to feel excited. You're going to feel like your heart is pumping, like you're in your body more. You're going to feel like your chin is held up a little higher and your eyes are a little bit brighter, and you are moving outside of that funk that we have been living with since mid-March. The last big running event that this world saw was the 2020 Los Angeles Marathon. And since that race, everything has been postponed. Certainly it has been canceled, or it has been rescheduled for who knows when it's going to happen. But your life must continue. You must feel accomplished. You must feel strong, you must feel empowered, you must feel excited, and you must radiate positivity to those around you, especially in your own household. You need to show your kids that you are going to not let this pandemic and this quarantine bring you down. You need to show your spouse that it is okay for you to take care of yourself so that you can help take care of each other. So that your spouse can look at you and say, oh man, I need to do something too for myself. And you can include them and welcome them along for your training. Unless you want to keep the training for yourself. And if you want to keep the training for yourself, keep it for yourself. Because running is about you taking care of you and then supporting that with others who also want to take care of themselves. And that is how we build a community. That's why we have amazing run clubs like the Pasadena Pacers on their 25th anniversary. That is why we have amazing run clubs like the Whittier Pacers going into their 3rd year. That is why we have amazing run clubs like Los Angeles Road Runners and LA Leggers and Midnight Runners and Skid Row Runners. I mean, it goes on and on. Mountain runners, anytime runners, they're everywhere. Because people know that once you start to move your body and you start to make eye contact with another runner, you want to maybe share your voice and your sunshine and say, hi, my name's Ezra. And they go, oh, hey, my name's Cheryl. Okay, and then you go back the next day or that next weekend, and then you're like, oh, hey, Ezra. And they're like, oh, hey, Cheryl. And then you come back that next weekend, and then you're like, so what'd you run today, Cheryl? She's like, I did 5 miles, Ezra. Oh, yeah, are you training for anything, Cheryl? I don't know, I'm training for the LA Marathon. Really? I don't know, I was nervous about doing that. Oh, you should do it. Now you have a training partner. And that community builds and builds. And you know what? You feel great about that. You sleep better at night because now your body is exercising some of that stress out. Your body is exercising some of that depression away. Your body is processing some of that couch junk food that you eat while you're binging on all those streaming services. You know what else you're doing? You're taking a break from your phone. You're letting your eyes focus on the horizon. You're looking at trees, or you're looking at architecture in your neighborhood, or you're seeing dogs, or you're seeing cats in the window, or you're seeing stuffed animals in the window. And you're living a beautiful, fulfilling life for 30 minutes if it's a 3-mile run. For 40 minutes if you're out there for 4 or 5 miles. For 2 hours if you're up to 10 miles. And you're going to want to keep that up. Week after week after week, you're going to want to increase your mileage because that is increasing your happiness. And then all of a sudden, here we are, somewhere in the spring of next year, and we don't even care what race it is anymore because we're ready for it. If we're having that LA Marathon in March of 2021, we're ready for it. If the world isn't ready for us to have a big gathering of athletes huffing and puffing through the streets of Los Angeles, and they decide to move it or cancel it or reschedule it, just like everything else, all the concerts and sporting events, then we're ready for it. But guess what has happened during that arc of time? You got happier, you got healthier, you got stronger, you were an example to your children, an example to your loved ones, an example to your co-workers. And you feel like when you look back, all the way back into September, you'll be like, I am so grateful. I got my butt off of that couch and I ran those 3 miles to start this amazing journey. Now, when I was proposing to my wife, Sabrina, back in the spring of 1998, I got so nervous and I got so much excitement. I was so in love with her that I just wanted to marry her immediately. I asked her if she would marry me. She said yes, thank goodness. And then we had to wait 9 months or about 10 months to plan and prepare for that wedding. Well, I just got so antsy. I was so excited. I wanted to be married right away. And with all of that excitement, I took to the streets of Hollywood because we were living in an apartment in Hollywood. And I just ran. I ran 3 blocks and I turned around and I ran back home. And when I got back to our apartment, my cheeks were red and I was all nasty and sweaty, which I still get nasty and sweaty. And I was out of breath and I said, "Woo, that really kicked my butt. I need to do that again tomorrow." And I did it that next day. I ran down 3 blocks, I came back, red face, huffing and puffing, sweaty. I thought, ooh, that felt good because I had an opportunity to release some of that amazing energy that if I held in my body, I would lose my mind. No one would want to be around me. So I kept it up week after week after week. Daily, I kept running more and more and more until I got to 3 miles. And then someone said, Ezra, you should sign up for a 10K, which is 6.2 miles. And I thought, there is no way I could run that far. But I did. I trained for it incrementally, little bit, and then I did it. And then when I got to that race, I got a free t-shirt, which I paid $35 for. I got a goodie bag filled with all sorts of samples that were delicious. When the race was over, they gave me all kinds of drinks and snacks. I got a bagel, I got an apple. I started to think, wow, I calculated everything. I'm like, with this t-shirt and the food and the snacks and the little trinkets and prizes they gave me, I'm like, oh, this way paid for that $35 entry fee. And I was around all of the people. And when that event was finished, we were all smiling. We were all happy. I said, I need to be in an environment like this. And that's what I really found my love of running, was when I was seeing everybody else that was participating in that same event. We all trained separately. I didn't know anybody. We all trained individually. I ran all by myself, as a lot of runners do. We start off running by ourselves, and then we find a club. So now we're in this unique opportunity, my friends, where we have to go back to finding out what it's like to run by ourselves. Or run with a partner, if it's within your, quarantine bubble and you're safe with them. Running by yourself is daunting and scary. I know. You're gonna feel like it's lonely, but it's not. You are the best company for you. I want to encourage you to find yourself again while doing something that you love. It may feel a little bit overwhelming for you to feel like I'm running now with all of my worries. And you are. You're going to run with your worries and you're going to run with your concerns for the first mile. And then after that, just like your body feels kind of crappy and cruddy on that first mile, your muscles are not warmed up yet, your joints are a little bit creaky, your mind space isn't in that area of like, I feel great, I got my runner's high yet. It doesn't happen in the first mile. Same thing with your thoughts. Your thoughts are not going to be there. But once you push past that first mile, you're going to feel so rewarded for pushing past. Your body's going to feel good. You're going to be proud of yourself for getting beyond that first mile. And then you won't feel so scared anymore. You won't feel so overwhelmed anymore. So I really want you to start looking at what you can do, because we have a gigantic list of what we are not allowed to be doing right now. There's too much that we are not allowed to be doing. And there's this horrible tag attached to those things. And those things are illness and death. And that is terribly frightening. And if we focus on those things, obviously if we're reckless, then we are tempting those things. So I don't want anyone to be reckless. But I do want you to start focusing on the things that you can do. And I want you to be smart with your running. I want you to be safe with your running, because I know that you can do anything. And you can set your mind up for tomorrow to start your marathon training, because I know that you can run that race, even if it's virtual. Who cares if it's virtual? It's unique that it's virtual. It's exciting and different that it's virtual, because once this pandemic is over, every race is going to go right back to every race that has ever been. Thousands of people burping and farting at the starting line, and then cramping at mile 20, and then happy and elated at the finish line with a medal and a silver Mylar blanket, and you walking like Frankenstein back to your car. Every race is going to be like that. So we're living in unique times. Let's make that uniqueness something wonderful and positive, something that we can be proud about when it is all said and done. Because if we sit on the couch and wait for this thing to end, we are wasting days and weeks and months of making ourselves feel happy, excited, empowered, and healthy. And that's what we need to be doing, and that's why I am here for you. That's what I've been doing since the pandemic started. That's what I encourage everybody to do out there. And if you're someone who hasn't been doing that yet, you can start tomorrow.
Coach,
Wow.
people are pumped up. You're pumping people up here. We got people saying, Coach Ezra in the house.
Whoop, whoop.
It's marathon training time. That's Antsy Cat. We got Angie 80. She says, Coach Ezra, you always pump me up and empower me. Thank you so much for your positive energy. Rigo says he knew you wouldn't stay seated the whole time in a chair.
No,
Not with that energy. Not with your energy.
No way.
We got without love, there's nothing. Thank you, Coach Ezra. I always appreciate your positive energy and encouragement. So people are thankful. They're pumped up. The Whittier Pacers say, we love you, Coach Ezra. There's also, how do we tag Pasadena Marathon 2021? Maybe not on maybe I could tag them here.
I also want to mention the Thousand Oaks Pacers. We've got San Bernardino Pacers.
So it's South Orange County Pacers.
South Orange County. We've got the Fairfield Pacers up in Napa. We're all training together, so we got a bunch of clubs out there training together. And that was great, Ezra. Really appreciate your words. I got to tell you something about training by yourself. Most of my running career, when I was really running fast, I always trained by myself. And it can be daunting. The hardest part, of course, is what Ezra said, is getting that first mile under your feet. Once that's done, you're committed. You're already there. What are you going to do? Not do it? So, but the cool thing for me is that when I'm out on a long run, sometimes I let my mind wander. You ever have that sensation where you're kind of 3 feet behind your head and sort of above your body and watching your feet going it's just like an automatic thing that your body's doing. And I'll admit I've imagined myself winning races. I've imagined myself to be Phidippides, running the great, distance between the Battle of Marathon. I was running to the gates of Athens to announce the victory of the Spartans over the invaders. Sometimes you just let your mind wander and you have thoughts of winning, thoughts of breaking barriers, thoughts of I can do anything. In the midst of having those kind of thoughts, I think they kind of permeate your entire consciousness. And when you think that way, it starts to shatter barriers in your life and it makes things more possible. So getting out, going on a run, it just opens up all these possibilities. And you get your shower afterwards, you get your shoes on, get to work. All of a sudden your day is so much different than the day you would have had you not exercised. I promise you, it's going to be great. Run by yourself for a while. Have that alone time. It's great to have some time by yourself. We don't get enough of it. We get all this electronic input. We have constant forces of work and people and things are coming at you. You got Zoom meetings. To be by yourself and to go back to being a primitive human being like we were originally built for, that's a special thing. It's a gift. Get your shoes on, get out there, run that first mile, and have some thoughts, clear out your head. It's almost like having sleep that washes out all the negativity and revitalizes your energy and just makes all things seem so possible. And realize too, when you're running, you're connected. Who knows how far the human spirit reaches? Certainly it's not just around your body, it expands out there some distance from you. And when you're running and there's another person who's one of your club members out on the road running at the same time, you may connect with them without even being close physically. So you're a spiritual being and you connect to other people's through the spiritual universe. And I'll tell you something, when you see those red Pacers shirts out on the road, and you're gonna see them because we're in town together and chances are pretty good you're gonna run the same miles, you're gonna have that shirt on, you're gonna run at the same time, and out of the distant haze of that conscious thing that's going on in your head, all of a sudden there's a red shirt that kind of zaps you back into the present. You go, oh my God, it's a Pacer. And it just pierces your soul and just makes you feel warm and fuzzy all over. And you give them a good attaboy and wave at them. Don't even need to know who they are. You know what they're up to, and they're part of you and you're part of them, and they need you and you need them. So participate. Have a great time this year. So I think that's about all I have to say. Ezra could talk all day.
Yeah, I will. No, I also wanted to say, when I started running, one of the main tools to keep motivation alive as well as to keep yourself accountable was a training log or a runner's log or a journal, essentially, right? And basically what you would do is what any of the apps do, like Strava or Runkeeper. You say where you ran, what time you ran, and how you felt while you were running. Sometimes they're amazing discoveries. Sometimes they'd be poems that would pop out of you. Sometimes they would be to-do lists of things that you wanted to do. But you would have this training log or this runner's journal. And when you would subscribe to magazines like A Runner's World, they would send you one as a bonus gift for the subscription. And I have lots and lots of them. I also filled them out. I was pretty diligent about that. I would say the weather was smoky. I didn't run today. Or I would say it was a beautiful Southern California day and I ran in Santa Monica and I did 4 miles and I felt really strong and happy. And now we have that same device, that same principle and philosophy in an easy digital format where you can write and share your personal experience, and then you can share that personal experience in our digital landscape on social media, and then you'll have other people say, I also ran today, and this is how I felt. And then you make this connection, and they don't even have to be in your town. They could be in another country, which I have many people from other countries. I have a friend in Israel who started to train because she's been following my Instagram stories. I have another person in London who's doing the same thing, and we just check in with each other. I'll get a message that says, wow, it looks so beautiful there. I ran here, and then I would see where they ran. Just to know that there are other people in there will continue to inspire and motivate you. if we just keep this all to ourselves, our motivation will only last so long. You need to share this experience with others because others need you in their lives as well to help their motivation. And you feed each other with that support and motivation and inspiration. So it may be uncomfortable for you. You may be a little bit on the shy end where you don't feel like, oh, your run deserves to be shared. Oh, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody. But if you put your experience out there, someone else will say, I relate to that, and then you may be having a digital friendship or a digital running buddy, and then you can continue to support and inspire each other. So I encourage you to write and share and post pictures, tag it, whatever you'd want to do, but keep sharing your experience.
Coach Ezra, collectively, we just came up with a hashtag. Hashtag Pacers Together 2021. What do you think about that?
I love it. I love it. There is, what is the basketball team, the Pacers? Something Pacers.
Indiana Pacers.
Indiana Pacers. We're going to share it. We're going to share Pacers Together 2021. And don't be surprised if you see some basketball posts every now and then with that hashtag. Because, of course, I follow Pacers Together 2020. And I got a lot of Indiana Pacers.
Oh, you did?
Well, when I search, here's what I like to do. I like to have a hashtag because all you need to do is click on the hashtag and then you'll see all of the posts from the people who used it. So it was overwhelming by Pacers for the Pacers Together 2020. But in the mix, every now and then, in the grid work, you'd be like, oh, who's that basketball player? Oh, I don't know the Pacers. Oh, those Pacers. And they're like rooting on their team, like, go Pacers! 2020, we're going to get the championship. But of course, everybody's in a bubble somewhere in Orlando right now. but yes, Pacers Together 2021.
Okay.
I love it. That sounds great.
On their stories, on their posts, anything.
Yeah, and that way, see, here's how this works in case you didn't know. In case you thought like all this hashtag stuff, what am I doing? Okay, I'll follow instructions and I'll put Pacers Together 2021, but I don't know what that'll do for me. Here's what it will do. If you tap on it, because it'll go blue, right? It'll generate the hashtag, and then you tap on it, it'll take you to a page that will show you all of the runners that are using that same hashtag. And right now, they're runners in our community. They're Pasadena Pacers, Whittier Pacers, all the Pacer nations, right? So we're all using it. And you, if you're not a Pacer, that's awesome. You can still use it and see all the other running friends that you could make without being an official Pacer, which is totally wonderful. So everybody is welcome. And then you see all of these pictures and you see where other people went running. Some of the Pacers go running in the Grand Canyon. A lot of people went to Arches up in Utah. I mean, people have been all over the place. And we see their beautiful run vacations. So use that hashtag. That way we can all keep track of each other's training and support one another.
You know, I kept track of you.
Uh-oh.
Which way did you go?
Uh-oh.
I kept track of you when you were doing your virtual run across Tennessee.
Right.
And we had a lot of Pacers run those miles across Tennessee. And I have to tell you, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It did something to me personally. So
I
wanted
believe
to
it.
thank you for posting that. You know, we can do that for others too. They see your accomplishments and it lights them up. You know, maybe your kids and save your life by doing that. So get out and do it.
When I was a young boy living in New Jersey, I would see in my neighborhood on my street, a very suburban street, nothing really exciting. I would see this one thin man, older man. Every single day he would go running. Every day he would run. I would see him in the neighborhood run. And I would be on my bike playing, bored, right? But I would see this one guy always running, and now I recognize that he was a marathon runner. He was very thin. He would always wear a singlet. Running. That was his jam. I had no idea as a young boy what an impression he was making on me. It was completely subconscious. No idea. In fact, I have been running for 15 plus years. I didn't even think about that guy and what an effect he has had on my life for consistency and just the fact that he was committing to himself and his own health. It was something that he did all by himself. I would watch him do it all the time, and I'm just this little kid watching this inspiration go by. every day, and it was planting that seed in me that I'm not an athletic kid. I was not involved in organized sports. I didn't play t-ball, I didn't play football. I was always sort of mocked at because I didn't really understand the rules of organized sports. So if I got the football, I'd run it in the wrong direction and score for the other team. I mean, I was a mess. So, you know, it's not like I was a sports-minded kid. I was a chunky, imaginative little fella. And it wasn't until, like I said, once I started to, you know, run, once I was engaged with Sabrina, then I started to find this sport for me. And this has been an amazing sport for me. I can do it alone, I can do it with everyone, I can do it anywhere, I can do it whenever I want to.
Hey, when did you join the Pacers? Like, you started running in '98,
right?
And at what point did the Pacers cross your path?
I have a shirt that I have a picture, a race finisher's picture from the inaugural Tinkerbell half marathon, and I think that was in 2006. I think that was the race, and I'm wearing a Pacer tank top in there, and I'm like, well, it was at least that year, if not maybe a year earlier. So I would say since 2006, I've been running with the Pacers. But funny enough, I would be running these races, the Long Beach Half Marathon. It was Surf City now, but it was called the Pacific Shoreline Half Marathon. And I would see the red Pacer shirt with the smiley face P logo, and I'd be like, look at those silly shirts. What a silly shirt with a smiley face P, a happy letter. What a silly thing. But it stuck in my head, and I go to another race, and I'd be like, there's that stupid shirt again. What's stupid? Silly, smiley face. And then I looked up, I'm like, well, it's Pasadena. I'm living in Glendale. I had moved from Hollywood to Glendale. And I'm like, they're kind of close. Let me just go ahead and roll up and see what's like. And then I showed up one morning at the Rose Bowl, or at least at the Aquatic Center where the Pacers still meet. And the half marathon runner, the one who was leading it, skinny, thin, like fit, youngish guy. I think his name was Nardi or something like that. And he took us on the north route. I went 7 miles. So we went halfway up the big hill, and there was like some picket fence there. We turned around to that fence and came our way back down. And I was like, whoa, that was a good workout. I got to come back here again and train because Pasadena has these great hills from the basin. And I have not left since. I'm there all the time.
I'm sure glad you joined.
Thank you.
It's been, the club has been made richer by your presence.
Thank you, Steve. I am sure great. I am very, very rewarded by that club as well. Thank you.
Cool.
Well, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much to Coach Ezra and Dr. Steve Smith, and we'll be back next Friday for another episode of Office Hours.
Let's get running.
See you next Friday. See you out on the roads, folks.
Bye.